Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you? How are you doing today? How's this Wednesday working out for you? It's okay for me. It's all right here. Things are things. So I've been talking and teasing and mentioning the idea of launching this new business recently, and I'm finally ready to share like the smallest of details with you. Last week, I think I put up, we did the whole logo thing, like here's logo ideas. I didn't at that time want to share with you the idea of the business or the name of the business, just here's logos and what I'm going for. Today I'm willing to share all with you. First of all, the name of the business is EdTrack Express, and the URL for that business is, surprising, edtrackexpress.com. You can go there and see the finished logo, the complete logo with the title and all that stuff, and that's pretty much about it. You can see terms of service and privacy policy and that sort of stuff that it needs to be there for legal reasons, but I can't show you any of the software yet because it's got to be completely rebuilt. Essentially what I'm doing. So I mentioned it, and our friend Josh is a fellow West Virginian who owns a marketing agency, offered to help, and I said sure. So I sent him this email saying, I want to start this business. I don't know what I need to do first. I knew that I needed to get an EIN, which is a federal employee identification. I needed to get my business license, which I went through all that process this weekend. Needed to get the URL and the website and all that stuff working. Otherwise, my software business would be a failure. But the things that I really didn't know are things like the terms of service, the privacy policy. How legalese do those need to be? Do I need to hire a lawyer for that? Contract agreements. This company is going to primarily focus on software as a service type business. I'm not going to be selling software or selling anything that you can purchase to own. It will be simply you're buying a service. You're buying a monthly fee, essentially. And the software is a clone. I need to say this very, 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 very carefully. The software is completely rewritten by me based on software that I wrote for the agency that I work for. I work for this agency. I wrote software for this agency to help one of our school districts achieve a goal, and they love the software. The problem is my agency is going away June 30th, and what's going to happen to that software, nobody really seems to know. When we go away and I shut the server down, that's it. It doesn't exist anymore. And being that I'm a one-man development team, I can't hand this software off to somebody to maintain. I can't, there's no way I could train somebody on the code. I haven't done a very good job of maintaining the code and commenting and all that stuff, so it would be kind of a nightmare for somebody to dig through. Everything is named logically. I didn't subvert it on purpose. But it's still very rough. It's still basically an alpha product. But it's working and it's functional. There are quite a few things that I would have done differently had I gotten the chance to start over, and that's where this company is being born from. I do have verbal commitments from a few school districts who want to use the software, who are excited about the software. I just need to get it rewritten and working. So, because the original software was written on company time, on company hardware, it technically is an asset of RISA 7, and if I were to appropriate that code, launch it as is, and start selling it, I could put myself into a whole different category of legal trouble that I'm not willing to get into. So I have to completely rewrite the software, which is what I'm doing now. Probably literally while you're watching this, I am working on that. I am using a lot of the structure of the original code. For instance, the style sheet The style sheet I brought to the project from previous projects. It's essentially my own bootstrap. Like, I developed this style sheet years ago for client websites, for my personal websites, so I brought that in. I can reuse that. There's no legal issue there. So the look of the project will be very similar to what is currently in existence. All the back-end stuff, though, it needs to be totally redone. Essentially, I sat down and had a meeting with the original school district, and they said, we want to do this, this, and this. And I said, okay, so I built software that could do this, this, and this. And then over the months, it evolved into, we want to do this, but we need to do it this way also. And we want to do this a little bit differently instead of this way. And we need to add this in. And so it's become this kind of, as software always does, it became this kind of amorphous blob of just like duct taped code, and it needs a complete overhaul. I now have a much better vision of what the software needs to be, and so as I go back and rewrite it, I am not necessarily future-proofing it, but I'm trying to make it as easily adjustable as possible, so I can pick bits and pieces out and plug them in at will. Essentially, I'm going to build this version like building blocks, and so I can just plug it in. And the cool part about that is this software is originally designed simply to track professional development. So teachers have to do professional training every year, like 12 hours, I think most counties require. And there's not really a good way to keep track of that. Lots of counties have just literally paper files that somebody has to manually go through. On top of that, a lot of federal programs require yearly reports on staff development training, and so somebody has to sit down with a calculator and paper. And I said, that's ridiculous. I can make you a very simple application for that, and that's where I went. And the thing is, like, all of the other software companies that do stuff like this, they don't just do simple. They do, okay, well, you want page 1 of this book, but in order to get page 1, you have to buy the whole book. And we're going to sell you all this other stuff and all these modules that plug in, and it does all this cool. And this county's like, I don't want any of that. I just want, people go, I was here, and I go, yep, you were there, and they get credit. And that's all I need to do, right? So I think that the software is very simple. It's extremely not complex, and I think that's what makes it special. Is I'm not trying to sell anything magic, one size fits all product. I'm selling a very simple product that does one thing, and it does it very cleanly and very well. The cool thing is, because I've written it so cleanly, I can adapt that to essentially track just about anything you would want tracked. So EdTrack Express, Education Track Express, is more than just one piece of software in my mind. In my mind, I can custom mold this foundation into software that could fit essentially any need. And quickly, I can turn it around quickly, and so that the clients that I might work with, if they have any sort of tracking reporting needs, I could very easily just say, okay, now you have that. And that'll be an extra X dollars a month. So we'll see. That's the plan. edtrackexpress.com if you want to go see it. Currently, there's nothing to see. There's just a landing page and some stupid terms and conditions and the P.O. box address. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm up to. And I got to get back to work. So hopefully this won't take long. I am going to launch this as what's called an MVP in the startup world. That's minimum viable product. Essentially, I'm going to try to just slap in the main features and roll it out, and then start building on top of that. So we'll see what happens. But I'll take you along for the ride. And as soon as I can show you, functionality and and all the cool little tricks that I've come up with to make it work, I'll let you see it. So thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from animals.nationalgeographic.com. Where are red pandas from? The red panda shares the giant panda's rainy high-altitude forest habitat, but has a wider range. Red pandas live in the mountains of Nepal and northern Myanmar, Burma, as well as in central China. These animals spend most of their lives in trees and even sleep aloft. That is not easy to do.